Good day, everybody. Welcome back to the flight deck. It's been a lovely flight on the way up from Singapore. We've passed the Philippines, Taiwan, and we're now alongside the island of Shikoku, one of the five major Japanese islands. We're coming up on the Impal waypoint where we're going to make a left turn and then head inland over Honshu and get ready to head down towards Nagoya. And top of descent is about 60 miles or so away. So let's take our seat now and we can start looking at what's coming up. So I've done a weather check. The winds haven't really changed. They're still out of the north. Currently 320 at 17 knots, so it's a little bit windy. I'll throw that into the chat there. A little bit windy, as you can see. Still good visibility, no clouds detected. It's 22 degrees this morning. QNH is 1010, which we will dial in shortly, and no significant changes are forecast. So we're going to stick with our approach on the ILS Zulu runway 36 right. So let's take a quick look at that. I'll bring it up the chart, and let me just see. Yep, that is the one. Alright, so our course is going to bring us in from the southwest down to Probe, where we're going to make the left turn and fly out to Wilba, where we should intercept the glide slope and then descend down to the runway. So we're going to start entering in the information that we're going to need. So we're going to come down to the RadNav page here, make sure we got everything entered in. So it's the ILS runway 36 and it's the Zulu. 111.9 is correct, and we can see that on the chart. And 357 will be the heading. There is a VOR here, the Chubu VOR, so we're going to select that. It's 117.8, and we'll throw that up in VOR 2 just as a reference. So that is all in, and we are pretty good there. So we'll just get rid of the chart, and we can come back to our legs page. Fuel is looking good. As you can see, we're going to be starting our turn shortly and heading in. So we have a continual descent all the way down. A couple restrictions at Probe, where we got to be at 4,000. We did go in and set a couple of them in as well to make sure we're at our intercept altitude in plenty of time, and that intercept altitude is going to be 3,500 feet. So that's what we will set for our descent after we make the turn at Impal. We'll get that dialed in, and then it's a straightforward descent from Cards to the runway. You can see the island off to our left there. Starting to see a faint pink coloring on the sky, so hopefully the sun's going to be coming up shortly. So we can look at the ATIS. We don't have ATIS, although we're going to use runway 36, and we do have the weather information. FMC arrival procedures. We can come down now, and we'll go into the menu, the index. We want the approach. So for the approach, we're going to do a full 30-degree flaps landing. We'll have a landing reference speed of 154. We're going to be landing at that plus 5, so 159 will be our landing speed. We'll select that and put that in, and that is going to give us our reference down here. For the minimums, it's going to be a Cat 1. We're not worried about the weather. Full Cat 1, we have the visibility minimums. That's all fine. So it's going to be 215 feet, and we will set that on the barrow. So 215 going in, we will round up to 220, so that is now set there. And 1010 for when we transition over is set into standby for the altimeter. Briefing has been done. We've gone through that. Missed approach, if we have to do it, is going to be a climb to 500 feet on runway heading of 357. Left turn onto 166 to intercept and proceed outbound on the 211 radial to 4,000 feet. Left turn via CBE at 16.4 DME. Counterclockwise arc to probe and hold. So we're basically going to make a almost 190 degree turn and then a right turn out on the 211. So we're going to go back into our rad nav and we're going to put a course of 211 in there, and then we are going to set up our heading of 166 in there, and we are good for our descent now that we've made the turn. So we're going to dial this down to our intercept of 3,500 feet. And again, I like to use V speed, and we'll go to 2,000, and then we'll see where our descent arc takes us, and we'll just work it from there as we start to stabilize. We're also going to come in and set our speed for 280. We'll just hold her there. So you can see we're going to be slightly short, so we can bring that down to 1,800 feet at the moment. So we've turned inbound. Here's the island. Nagoya is on the coast up ahead, so we'll be pretty much just coming along the coastline up to the bay where it sits. Of course, I think we've got Osaka over here, Nagoya over here, and then Tokyo is further on. A little bit of cloud down there, but not too bad. We are looking good. There's 3,400 feet. Check our recall. Recall is good. Altimeters will set at transition level. Transition level is 14,000 feet, or flight level 140. VREF is set 154. Minimums are set to 20. Passenger signs, not too worried about that. Auto brakes will set to, well, let's take a quick look at the runway length. 11,000 feet. Plenty of room. The 320 Neo up there. So we'll set for auto brakes 2. And so it's lights and altimeters, and then flaps and gear. We should be good. Yeah, definitely getting a brightening on the horizon, so the sun is starting to come up. Switch this over now. We are looking good. We do have to slow down, obviously. So we do have some mountains and stuff along the coast here that will be passing by. That's Osaka. The airport is over here. Very interesting town. Some very modern buildings there. Had a great day there. Did a little water tour. Little water boats around the city. It was great. And had some interesting food there as well. Really interesting place. And of course, Osaka Castle is a phenomenal place. Well known. The big white castle. That was amazing. We actually, the day we were there, we didn't know this. They were having a festival, and the place was packed. Still got in to see everything inside the castle and everything, but they had musicians and displays and all kinds of stuff going on there. It was pretty awesome. So you can see here that we got this bay, and then the town on the other side. The main part of the town is to the left. But that's where we're headed. That airport there. So we are looking good. And again, not expecting a change in the winds. And again, we'll make sure we're below glide, and we are at almost on course. I'm going to Will with 35 probe 4000. I'm going to adjust the probe 1 to 35 as well, just to make sure. Not that we're using it to descend, but just as a reference, because I can see it over here as we come up to them. So we're dealing with a bit of a wind here, as you can see, 71 knots pushing us, and from the rear left. It's causing a slight bit of drift, so we're kind of fighting against it. We're picking up the VOR 80 miles out from the airport. Airport being out here. Just start to make out the land starting to come in. And there's that Horseshoe Bay. Airport's on this side across the bay. And then there's the main part of the town, and then we got some other stuff spread out around. And of course, as I mentioned, there's Osaka, in the greater Osaka area. Huge city. I think the population of Japan is like 126 million people. Most of them live along the coast in places like this, because the interior has that mountain spine that goes down, and except for some small villages, there's not much else there. Right there's 25,000 feet. Definitely see that sun coming up. Even as we're descending, it's getting brighter, so you can tell dawn is on the way. It'll be a nice morning arrival as we come in. So this is leg, I don't know, can't remember what it was, leg 20 on the 2023 F1 Support Series. So there's about four more races to go, I think. But we still got some long flights ahead of us. As I mentioned, we're heading to Doha next. There's a race in the US as well coming up, so we'll be flying over there. It's going to be very interesting. Just watching that marker for when we're going to get down to 350. We want to be there by the time we get to probe. We may have to adjust as we come in, because we're going to have to slow down, which means we're going to have to level slightly, and that'll extend that out. 22,000 feet. A little bit more. I think those aircraft there are out in Tokyo. That's the direction. We're just passing the little coastal town of Owasi. We're heading up over the mountainous area. You can see all the roads and stuff. There's hills and everything in there. And we're going to make a turn down here, south towards across the entrance of the bay, and then turn in for the airport. The airport appears to be built on a little artificial island, so that should be interesting. We seem to be going to fall short, so I'm going to increase our descent. Again, try to keep that before probe. Switch it down to 40-mile range. Now we are holding 280. We can go flaps 1 at 285, so we may do that as we pass 14,000 feet. We'll switch over to standard pressure and get the first notch of flaps out. Start slowing us down. Our engine's idle and speed is creeping slightly, so we're going to go flaps 1. It's a little early, but that should help with the speed. Just to get that little bit of drag out there. There we go. So there's card. Card is the beginning of the arrival, and the arrival is basically a straight line shot out to probe, and then we make the turn for the ILS. It's not showing up yet, but we have the frequency 111.9 and 349 is the heading. We should get the indicator popping up when we're picking up the signal, which is India Charlie X-ray ICX. That'll happen a little bit closer. We're still just under 40 miles out. Everything is looking good. Again, manual speed control here. And manual control on our descent profile. I am going to, when I have some time, I'm going to do a test on the Asobo 747 with the AAU2 mod. My tracker wanting me to say I'm still here, so 120950 is the frequency it wanted me to tune in, so there we go. So there's our turn. We're now on the arrival, 16,000 feet. We're looking decent. For our altitude, we're going to come back to 270 now. See if that will come down. And we want to be below the glide. So I'm going to notch us in a little bit more. See if we can hold it. Once we drop down to 250, we can go to flaps 5, which I'm actually going to do now as we get closer. So let's head down to 250. The speed brakes out. Sort of slowing us up. So we're below 265, flaps 5. Flaps 5 set. We're below 14,000, so standard pressure, that's dropped us down slightly. Everything is looking good. Here's the bay. Airport is off that way. Hey Lemon Wolf, how you doing? It's got one, it doesn't work, doesn't do anything. Unfortunately, this is the salty mod. I haven't tried the Asobo one yet. I've got to do a test flight in it to see how it works. Yeah, no EFB in here yet, which is fine. I do all my calculations offline anyway, so that's all good. Alright, so we're coming up to the coast. We're about 10 miles out, so we're going to bring our speed down now to 200 knots. Really want to make sure we're not going too fast when we come in. So speed back to 200. We're below 145. We can go flaps 10. Flaps 10 is set. Below 135, we can go flaps 20. And below 210, we can go flaps 25. Alright, so there's 235. Flaps 20. Yeah, I just got to have time to sit down and do a flight in it, just so I know where everything is, and then I'll probably end up switching over to it. All right, so there's below 10,000 feet. So let's get all the lights on. We'll get those lights on. We'll get our logo light on as well. Wing lights, why not? And that's all set. No need for landing systems. Not required. There's below 210, so flaps coming back to 25 or down to 25. Alright, we're set to achieve our altitude here at just before probe when we're making our turn. So we should then level out and pick up the ILS. Okay. So we can see we're picking up ICX, which is the correct identifier. We have the localizer. 7,000 feet. There's the airport. You can see the runway there. Like I said, it's built out on a little island out here in the bay. So it'll be an interesting approach. And yeah, the sun's just breaking the horizon. There's our turn. Still not seeing the glide slope. We are 16 miles out. See the localizer switch sides, which is good. $1,000 to go. There's the glide slope just popped in. We're going to let her roll level. Let her get back on course before we activate approach mode. Go vertical speed hold. Ideally, we want to come into high sensitivity. I should have already done it now. We'll go approach mode. There we go. High sensitivity, approach mode, localizer capture. Glide slope is armed. We're going to come down to 159 on our approach. There's gear down. Speed back to 180. So there's glide slope and localizer. Let's see how she does. Go, glide slope. It's 10 miles. So we'll bring her down to 159. Is set. Below 185, we can go flaps full. So flaps full. Gear down 3 green, flaps full. Let's get that in. Speed brake is now armed. Auto brakes are set to 2. Recall is clear. Runway is identified. And no traffic in sight. Looks clear. There we are coming in. $2,500 feet. Approach is stable. Now we're gonna have a slight wind pushing out of our left front. That should veer a little bit more. I was saying the winds were 320. You can see them starting to swing a little bit further westward. Six miles. Great time to head out for breakfast after we land. $1,600 feet. See, we got a slight crab going, dealing with that wind. 19 knots. Forecast was at 17, so it's going to be about this strong and about this direction. It's already down to 325. Should be fairly stable though. It's coming across the water, so there's nothing to bounce the air around like mechanical turbulence, so we should be good. And you can see that crab angle flying into the wind, so we come down. But we're all good. 1,000 to go. See, it's bringing us off the glide, which is what I don't like about this. I will try the other one. I don't know, she's coming back on the glide slope. Yeah, see, now we're slightly high. Anyway, that's 500 feet. I have control. Let's get her over. Continue. Throttle's off. Oh, a bit of a hard thump there. Get the nose down. Reversers are on. $100 knots. That's the fuel switches. 70 knots. And manual braking. I'll shut that off. I don't know why it does that. It seems to have stopped. Salty's got an option for auto fuel switching, but there's issues with the logic in it. Alright, we are off at Alpha 7. We'll get by the whole short line. We're heading up pretty much directly ahead. There'll seem to be parking for non-scheduled airline traffic. So let's just get on the brakes for a second here. There we go. So I'm just going to quickly pop down here. I'm going to go menu, salty, miscellaneous, automatic fuel management off, menu FMC, and we can go back to our I'll go to likes page. That's fine. Fuel page is fine. All right, so flaps coming up. Speed brakes disarmed. Landing lights, turn off lights, taxi light on, strobes off. Weather radar don't have, so that's not an issue. All right, let's taxi over here and park it up. We're gonna go, this is Alpha, we're gonna go forward and then a right turn. Let's come up here to see if we can see where we're going. This is Bravo 7. Welcome to Nagoya, Japan. And as I mentioned, beautiful sunrise just starting to kick in. So I know we're going to be too small for these parking spots, probably, but we're going in anyway. And we're going to go in here. Alright, let's get ourselves around so we can see our nose wheel on the line. Go. Welcome to, as I said, Japan. So let's get the APU up and running. We have external power available. Not sure why it's saying it's on. It's already on. That is good. So we are good to shut down. So hydraulic pumps will come off. APU will be on in a second. APU is now running. Parking brake is set. Fuel control switches are off.
This parking is too small for your aircraft.
Yes, I am aware. Fuel pumps are set and off. Electrical power is good. And we can turn on the APU bleeds for some air. In the back, window heat will come off. And we are done. Well, thank you very much for flying along. Hope you enjoyed. We will be back tomorrow here in Japan, actually, where we will be taking the ATR on the next leg of that journey. As we tour, or oops, I leave the beacon on. As we tour around Japan from north to south. Hope to see you then. Thanks for coming along and watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.